I had the ring in my hand. Not metaphorically, literally. Gold metal pressed against my palm while my heart ran ahead of my logic. For a moment, everything felt aligned. The timing, the emotion, the certainty, or at least I thought it did. I convinced myself that intensity meant readiness, that the depth of what I felt automatically translated into forever. That love, when it feels powerful, demands a permanent decision. And standing there, imagining the question forming in the air between us, I felt something unexpected. Stillness. Not doubt, not fear, just stillness. And in that stillness, I asked myself a question I hadn't allowed before. Is this love? Or is this momentum? Momentum can feel like love. It moves quickly. It builds excitement. It creates urgency. It tells you, don't wait. But love doesn't rush. It steadies. That night, instead of kneeling, I paused. I looked at her. The way she laughed softly at something ordinary. The way she held eye contact without performance. The way she existed comfortably beside me without demanding anything. And I realized something deeper. Love isn't a moment. It's a pattern. I almost proposed because I felt something strong. But strength of emotion isn't the same as strength of foundation. Foundation is quieter. It's built in conversations at midnight when you're both tired. In disagreements handled without ego. In days that feel boring but safe. In silence that doesn't need to be filled. I had been measuring love by intensity, by how fast my heart beat, by how vividly I imagined a future, by how certain I felt in peaks. But peaks are temporary. Foundation is repetitive. Love, I realized, is repetition. Choosing someone on ordinary days. Choosing someone when you're stressed. Choosing someone when you're not at your best. Choosing someone when excitement fades into routine. I wasn't afraid of commitment. I was afraid of misunderstanding love. And misunderstanding love can lead you to promise something you haven't fully built. There's a difference between wanting someone forever and being ready to build forever. Wanting is emotional. Building is intentional. I asked myself, if nothing dramatic ever happened again, no big moments, no grand gestures, would I still want this? The answer surprised me. Yes. But not because of the intensity, because of the steadiness. Steadiness is underrated. It doesn't create cinematic scenes, it creates sustainable connection. It doesn't overwhelm you, it grounds you. I almost proposed because I thought love was a feeling that peaks. I didn't realize love is a choice that repeats. When I truly looked at her, I saw more than excitement. I saw patience. I saw consistency. I saw the way she handled discomfort without turning into distance. I saw how she respected boundaries. How she communicated clearly, how she didn't manipulate uncertainty. That's love, not adrenaline, not urgency. Alignment. I put the ring back in my pocket that night, not because I doubted her, because I respected her. Respect means you don't ask a lifelong question based on a temporary emotional high. You ask it when your understanding of love has matured. I realized something else too. Love isn't about securing someone, it's about building with someone. Securing is possessive, building is collaborative. I didn't want to propose out of fear of losing her. I wanted to propose from a place of grounded certainty, and grounded certainty requires patience. Patience used to feel like hesitation. Now it feels like strength, because rushing would have been about me, about my need for reassurance. Waiting is about us, about honoring timing. I learned that love is less about asking, will you stay forever? And more about asking, can we grow together consistently? Growth is ongoing. Forever is theoretical. That realization changed everything. It softened my urgency. It deepened my awareness. It shifted my focus from the question to the foundation. I started paying attention to different things. Not how intense our highs felt, but how stable our lows were. Not how exciting our plans sounded, but how honest our conversations remained. Not how quickly we moved, but how consistently we showed up. Love, I discovered, is boring in the best way. It's predictable, safe, grounded, not chaotic, not confusing, not overwhelming. I almost proposed because I thought love demanded a dramatic gesture, but love actually demands discipline. Discipline to communicate, discipline to listen, discipline to sprint when it's easier to retreat. Now, when I think about proposing, it feels different. Less like a climax, more like a continuation. Less like sealing something fragile, more like strengthening something stable. Love isn't about capturing a moment. It's about sustaining momentum responsibly. I'm grateful I didn't kneel that night, because in pausing, I learned what love actually is. It's not the rush that makes you feel unstoppable. It's the calm that makes you feel safe. It's not the spark that ignites quickly. It's the warmth that stays. And when I do propose, if I do, it won't be because I'm overwhelmed. It will be because I'm aligned, not because I'm afraid to lose her, but because I'm certain I want to build with her. I almost proposed. Then I realized what love actually is. And now, I'm not chasing the moment. I'm building the foundation. The difference between a moment and a marriage. I didn't tell anyone how close I came. From the outside, nothing dramatic happened. No canceled plans. No emotional breakdown. No visible hesitation. But internally, something shifted. I almost asked a question that would have changed both of our lives. And instead of feeling regret for not asking it, I felt clarity. That clarity didn't weaken what I feel for her. It refined it. For a long time, I believed that love reaches a point where it demands a milestone. Dating becomes engagement. Engagement becomes marriage. Marriage becomes forever. It felt linear, predictable, like a sequence of escalating declarations. But what I started to understand is that milestones don't create strength, they reveal it. And I didn't want to reveal something that wasn't fully built yet. That night, after putting the ring away, I didn't feel like I had retreated. I felt like I had matured, because proposing out of emotional intensity would have satisfied a moment. But building a marriage requires understanding something deeper than intensity. It requires knowing what love looks like when it's not exciting, when it's routine, when it's tested, when it's quiet. Excitement is easy. Alignment is earned. I began replaying the past months differently, not focusing on our best moments, focusing on our ordinary ones. How do we handle stress? How do we navigate disagreement? How do we show up when we're tired, distracted, or overwhelmed? That's where love reveals itself, not in the highlight reel, in the repetition. I realized something subtle but powerful. Love isn't the feeling that makes you want to propose. It's the discipline that makes you ready to sustain what a proposal represents. A proposal isn't just romance. It's responsibility. Responsibility to communicate consistently, to remain present when comfort fades, to protect trust when ego is tempted, to repair quickly instead of withdrawing. I asked myself a difficult question. If nothing about her changed, if she remained exactly who she is, would I still choose this life? Not just now, in 5 years, in 10, and seasons where neither of us are at our best. And the answer wasn't dramatic. It was steady, yes, but not because I was overwhelmed, because I respected her. Respect is deeper than infatuation. Infatuation wants closeness. Respect wants partnership. I realized I didn't just admire her beauty or her warmth. I admired her integrity, her consistency, her emotional intelligence, the way she doesn't weaponize vulnerability, the way she handles tension without escalating it. Those qualities don't fade when excitement does. They sustain. I almost proposed because I felt a peak. But peaks don't define love. Patterns do. Patterns are built slowly. They're shared routines. They're difficult conversations handled well. They're consistency and effort through accountability. I didn't want to propose because the moment felt perfect. I wanted to propose when the foundation felt tested. And testing doesn't require crisis. It requires time. Time reveals habits. Time exposes blind spots. Time strengthens communication. Time clarifies alignment. Love is less about how strongly you feel today, and more about how consistently you choose tomorrow. That realization changed how I approach everything now. I'm not rushing toward milestones. I'm investing in patterns. I'm paying attention to how we recover from misunderstandings, how we handle emotional fatigue, how we support each other's ambitions without competition. Marriage isn't built on a question. It's built on answers. Answers to things like, can we disagree respectfully? Can we apologize without defensiveness? Can we grow without outgrowing each other? Those answers matter more than the proposal itself. I used to think proposing was proof of love. Now I see it as a reflection of readiness, and readiness requires clarity, not urgency. There's also something humbling about stepping back from a moment that feels cinematic. It requires admitting that romance alone isn't enough, that love, real love, is sustainable only when grounded in awareness. I don't feel further from her because I didn't propose. I feel closer because my pause wasn't hesitation, it was intention. Intention changes everything. It shifts love from emotional reaction to conscious choice. It transforms desire into commitment. It replaces impulse with integrity. I don't want to promise forever because I'm afraid to lose her. I want to promise forever because I trust our ability to navigate life together. There's a difference. Fear-based proposals seek security. Alignment-based proposals seek partnership. Partnership requires patience. It requires watching how someone handles disappointment, how they respond to stress, how they treat you when nothing special is happening. Ordinary days are the true measure of compatibility, and our ordinary days feel steady, not explosive, not chaotic, steady. Steadiness used to feel boring to me. Now it feels powerful, because steadiness is what carries you through years, through change, through uncertainty, through growth. I almost proposed, and in not doing it, I learned that love isn't about seizing the most emotional moment. It's about building toward the most aligned one. When I do ask that question, and I believe I will, it won't be because I'm overwhelmed by feeling. It will be because I've observed consistency, because I've seen how we recover, because I've felt safety, because I've witnessed growth. Love isn't a spark, it's a structure. And structures aren't rushed, they're built. I'm not delaying because I doubt her. I'm waiting because I respect what the question represents. It represents daily effort, daily choice, daily presence. I almost proposed. Then I realized love isn't the moment you knew. It's the life you stand up and build together afterward. What I'm building before I ever kneel after that night, something shifted in me. Not distance, not hesitation, depth. I stopped thinking about the proposal as a moment to prepare for. I started thinking about the marriage as a life to prepare for. There's a difference. One is about emotion, the other is about endurance. I used to imagine the proposal as the ultimate declaration, the peak, the proof. But I understand now that the proposal is not the destination, it's the doorway, and doors shouldn't be rushed through without knowing what kind of home you're entering. So instead of planning a surprise, I started paying attention to patterns. How do we resolve tension? How do we refer after misunderstandings? How do we show up when we're both tired? Because tired love reveals more truth than romantic love. Romantic love glows. Tired love works. And marriage is built in the second one. There was a morning not long after I almost proposed. We had both slept poorly. Small miscommunications surfaced over something insignificant, nothing dramatic. But I watched carefully. Did we escalate? Did we withdraw? Did we escalate? We recalibrated. We spoke calmly. We chose respect over reaction. And in that small moment, I saw something more powerful than any romantic gesture. I saw partnership. Partnership isn't loud. It doesn't trend. It doesn't sparkle. It stabilizes. I began realizing that love is not proven in grand gestures. It's proven in repeated restraint, in choosing patience when irritation is easier, in choosing clarity when assumption is tempting, in choosing vulnerability when pride feels safer. I asked myself again, if life became ordinary, bills, routine, stressed responsibilities, would I still feel a bit steady? The answer wasn't fireworks. It was calm affirmation. Yes, calm affirmation is stronger than emotional intensity. Intensity burns bright and fades fast. Affirmation glows quietly and lasts. I also realized something about fear. The fear I felt that night wasn't about losing her. It was about misunderstanding love. I didn't want to promise forever because I was overwhelmed. I wanted to promise forever because I was aligned. Alignment takes time. Time reveals character. It reveals patterns under pressure. It reveals how someone reacts when admiration isn't at its peak. We've disagreed since then. We've had moments of misunderstanding, but I paid attention to what follows. Repair, ownership, accountability. There's no defensiveness that lingers, no cold withdrawal, no emotional punishment. Just effort. Effort matters more than chemistry. Chemistry starts relationships. Effort sustains them. I stopped imagining the proposal as a climax. I imagine it now as a continuation, a natural extension of something already solid. There's something mature about waiting until the question feels inevitable rather than urgent. Urgency seeks relief. Inevitable seeks alignment. When I almost proposed, I was chasing relief. Relief from uncertainty. Relief from vulnerability. Relief from not knowing what the future holds. Now I understand that love doesn't remove uncertainty. It teaches you to navigate it together. Marriage isn't a guarantee of forever. It's a commitment to daily choice. Choice to communicate. Choice to remain patient. Choice to protect what you've built. That daily choice cannot be fueled by adrenaline. It must be fueled by respect, and I respect her deeply. Not just for how she makes me feel, for who she is consistently. Consistency is what changed my perspective. She doesn't shift based on mood. She doesn't manipulate dynamics. She doesn't test loyalty. She remains steady. And steadiness is rare. I didn't want to propose because the moment was beautiful. I want to propose because the foundation is stable. And stability isn't glamorous. It's earned quietly. I've been observing myself too. Am I ready to offer consistency back? Am I disciplined enough to communicate when it's uncomfortable? Am I willing to prioritize partnership over ego? These questions matter more than romance. Love isn't about feeling ready. It's about being responsible. Responsible with someone's heart. Responsible with their trust. Responsible with their future. I almost proposed when I felt overwhelmed by emotion. Now I'll propose when I feel grounded by understanding. Understanding of her patterns. Understanding of mine. Understanding of what commitment demands. Commitment demands presence, not perfection, not constant happiness. Presence. Presence means staying engaged during difficulty. It means not shutting down when things feel complicated. It means choosing conversation over silence. We've practiced that already, and that practice makes me confident, not excited. Confident. Confidence is quiet. It doesn't rush. It doesn't perform. It waits for alignment. When I kneel one day, it won't be because the sunset looks perfect. It won't be because the moment feels cinematic. It will be because I've witnessed enough steadiness to trust the future. Love isn't the spark that made me almost propose. It's the structure I'm building before I ever kneel. And structures built patiently don't collapse easily. I almost proposed, but I chose to build instead. And building feels stronger than any moment ever could. The day I propose, it won't be because I'm overwhelmed. I used to think the perfect proposal was about timing. The right sunset. The right song. The right setting. But now I understand something deeper. The right moment isn't created by atmosphere. It's created by alignment. When I almost proposed that night, I was overwhelmed by feeling. Now I'm guided by understanding. And understanding feels steadier than emotion ever did. I spend time observing the way we move through life together. Not just how we love on good days, but how we operate on average ones. Because average days make up most of life. Marriage is not built on peaks. It's built on patterns. Patterns tell you who someone is when there's no spotlight, when no one is watching, when nothing dramatic is happening. And in those quiet patterns, I see something solid. I see how she communicates when she's stressed. I see how she listens when I'm overwhelmed. I see how she doesn't keep score. I see how she apologizes without ego. Those things don't make headlines, but they build homes. Homes aren't built in moments. They're built in repetition, brick by brick, conversation by conversation, repair by repair. That's what I'm focused on now, not the spectacle of asking, but the sustainability of living together in intention. There's something powerful about delaying a milestone because you respect what it represents. A proposal isn't just romance. It's a promise to remain consistent. Consistent in effort. Consistent in honesty. Consistent in presence. Presence is the hardest part. It's easy to be present when things are exciting. It's harder when things feel repetitive. Routine tests love more than conflict does. And our routine feels calm. It feels stable. It feels kind. Kindness is underrated in relationships. We talk about passion, chemistry, intensity, but kindness sustains. Kindness sustains. Kindness protects trust. Kindness makes longevity possible. I almost proposed because I felt intensity. Now I'll propose because I feel trust. Trust in her. Trust in myself. Trust in how we handle life together. Trust isn't built overnight. It's built in the way someone shows up consistently. It's built in the way they respond when things don't go their way. It's built in the way they treat you when you're not impressive. She has shown me steadiness in moments that mattered. Not dramatic moments. Small ones. The kind that reveal character. And I've asked myself hard questions too. Am I prepared to match that steadiness? Am I disciplined enough to protect this long term? Am I willing to grow when comfort tempts me to stay stagnant? Because love isn't just about choosing someone. It's about choosing growth with them. Growth means adaptation. It means listening even when you think you're right. It means adjusting without resentment. I'm no longer rushing toward the idea of forever. I'm preparing for the practice of it. Forever is poetic. Practice is practical. And marriage lives in practice. When I imagine kneeling now, I don't feel adrenaline. I feel calm certainty. Not because the future is guaranteed. Because the foundation feels real. Real love is not explosive. It's grounding. It doesn't overwhelm your senses. It steadies your direction. I've realized something that changed everything for me. Love isn't proven by asking the question. It's proven by how you live after the answer. After the answer comes shared finances, shared stress, shared responsibilities, shared fatigue, shared decisions, shared growth. If you're not prepared for those, the question is just performance. I don't want performance. I want partnership. Partnership is built on respect. Respect for her individuality, respect for my growth, respect for our differences, respect for our boundaries. We've practiced that already. We've navigated disagreements without damaging trust. We've handled tension without escalating it. We've communicated when it would have been easier to withdraw. That practice gives me confidence, not emotional hype. Grounded confidence. The day I propose, it won't be because I'm afraid to lose her. It won't be because I feel swept up. It won't be because the moment looks perfect. It will be because I've seen enough consistency to trust the long-term process. Consistency over time builds inevitability, and that's what I want, not urgency. Inevitable alignment. I almost proposed because the moment felt powerful. Now I'll propose when the life feels ready. And readiness isn't about perfection, it's about preparation. Preparation to communicate daily. Preparation to repair when needed. Preparation to prioritize partnership over ego. I'm not waiting because I'm unsure. I'm waiting because I respect what the question carries. It carries responsibility, it carries permanence, it carries trust. When I kneel one day, I'll kneel with clarity, not rushing toward a promise, but standing on one we've already been living quietly. I almost proposed. Then I realized love isn't the rush that makes you act, it's the steadiness that makes you build. And I'm building something worth asking for. When I finally kneel, it will be because we've already been living it. I don't think about the proposal the way I used to. It's no longer a scene in my head with perfect lighting and rehearsed words. It's no longer a crescendo. Now when I picture it, it feels quiet, grounded, almost inevitable. There was a time when I thought proposing meant proving something, proving depth, proving certainty, proving permanence. But I've learned something deeper. A proposal doesn't prove love, it acknowledges it. And love, real love, isn't created in a single question. It's practiced long before it. When I almost proposed that night, I was moved by intensity. Now I'm moved by consistency. Consistency in how she speaks to me when she's tired. Consistency in how she handles disagreement. Consistency in how she supports my ambitions without competing with them. Consistency in how she protects our connection even when it would be easier to shut down. Consistency is not exciting, it's dependable. And dependability is what marriage needs more than romance. Marriage is not a peak moment, it's daily repetition. Repetition of choosing patience, repetition of choosing communication, repetition of choosing respect, repetition of choosing partnership over pride. I've been paying attention to the small things, how she reacts when plans change unexpectedly, how she expresses disappointment without accusation, how she celebrates my wins without overshadowing them, how she admits when she's wrong without defensiveness. Those details don't feel cinematic, but they feel solid. Solid matters more than spectacular, because spectacular fades, solid sustains. I've also been paying attention to myself. Am I capable of that same steadiness? Am I disciplined enough to show up consistently? Am I willing to choose her even when ego tempts me to protect myself? These are the questions that matter more than the ring. The ring is symbolic, but the life afterward is structural. And structures are not built on symbolism. They're built on shared habits, shared communication, shared growth. I don't want to kneel because the moment is beautiful. I want to kneel because the life is ready. Ready not in perfection. Ready in preparation. Preparation means we've navigated stress. We've handled misunderstandings. We've disagreed without damaging trust. We've seen each other imperfectly and stayed. That staying matters more than any grand gesture. There's something powerful about realizing love isn't about intensity. It's about alignment. Alignment in values. Alignment in how you resolve conflict. Alignment in how you view growth. We've aligned in ways that aren't flashy. Our conversations are honest. Our disagreements are respectful. Our silences are comfortable. Our laughter is effortless. That's not adrenaline, that's foundation. I almost proposed when I felt overwhelmed by emotion. Now, when I think about proposing, I feel calm, not numb, not detached, calm. And calm feels right. Calm means I'm not chasing reassurance. I'm not trying to secure something out of fear. I'm not acting because I'm afraid of losing her. I'm acting because I see a future that feels sustainable. Sustainable love is different than exciting love. Exciting love feels intense. Sustainable love feels steady. Exciting love is memorable. Sustainable love is dependable. Dependability is what builds years. And years are what a proposal represents. When I kneel, it won't be because I'm overwhelmed. It will be because I've observed enough steadiness to trust the repetition, trust that we can handle stress, trust that we can handle growth, trust that we can handle change. Change is inevitable. Life shifts. People evolve. Circumstances fluctuate. Love that survives those changes isn't based on spark. It's based on commitment to growth. Growth requires humility. It requires communication. It requires accountability. And I've seen those traits in her. I've practiced them myself. That's why I'm confident now in a way I wasn't before. Confidence doesn't rush. It doesn't push. It doesn't panic. It waits for alignment. Alignment feels like this. No urgency. No desperation. No performance. Just clarity. The proposal I imagine now isn't about spectacle. It's about acknowledgement. Acknowledging what we've already built. Acknowledging the consistency we've practiced. Acknowledging the respect we've maintained. It will be a continuation, not a climax. A natural step forward, not a leap into the unknown. I almost proposed when I thought love was about seizing the moment. Now I know love is about building the life that makes the moment inevitable. And when I finally kneel, it won't be because I'm chasing forever. It will be because we've already been living in it quietly, in daily patience, in shared responsibility, in steady communication, in intentional growth. Love isn't the question. Love is the discipline afterward, and that's what I've been preparing for. Not the rain, not the scene, the repetition. I almost proposed